Hi guys, it's Jake from Canadian Cutting Edge, and today I'm using my G749 to do an unboxing. Let's take a look. Paperwork, one knife. Yes, yes, yes. The G750. These knives came faster than expected. I ordered them from GearBest as soon as they came out, were released. And check that out. I think it's about 2.5 weeks. I'll put the definite date down here for my fellow Canadians. The shipping to the US and shipping to Canada from GearBest are two different beasts. The speeds are usually quite a bit slower coming to Canada. Like that swedge up here, nice little dished out spot. Then it's like a long clip point with a swedge, nice belly, huge flat area. That black G10 is really nice. I'm guessing, I haven't looked up what that green stuff is. I think it's what's that called? What's that technical word for when it absorbs energy from light and then it gives off light when it's dark? That word. That's what that, I think that's what that is. A nice axis lock. Almost. It'll work in. I like that. That's fun. Very nice. Well, this part of the video is just my first impression. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry this knife for a while until I'm ready to do a full review. And I'll save this introductory video, this section that I made, and this video right after the break will turn into my full review. Full-size knife by Ganzo. Looks really cool. Feels really great in the hand with these two choils. You can get a really good purchase of this knife. And, it's a nice, good, full-size knife. Today, I'm recording this on Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, America. It's not Thanksgiving in Canada. We had ours a month or so ago. But you'll be seeing this on Black Friday. Pay attention to this video if you're watching it on Black Friday or even in the next few days after that. In the description below the video is a link to a good deal that you have. Today you can get this knife for $10.59 US. You can buy it. Canadians can buy it for the same price. Anybody in the world can buy it for the same price. This is the G722, a great big heavy-duty frame lock by Ganzo. If you want a working knife, this is a beast for that. Check the description below for the coupon code to get this. Also check my Facebook because there'll be new coupon codes for different knives for the next 4 days. 3 or 4 days. All right, without further ado, here comes the review. I'm going to get the tabletop mode finally now. It's a great looking knife, isn't it? Just the general design. I really like the big back on here, rounded. It feels really comfortable in the palm of the hand because your palm is naturally rounded. And you've got 2 finger choils there to hang on to, and then some nice jimping for the your 2 smaller fingers to grab onto. This knife really feels secure in the hand. It's one of the better Ganzos for that. Great design, guys. I really like that a lot. Let's talk about the blade a little bit more before we get onto the sizes. So what we got is a flat grind. Some people call it a Scandi grind. It goes up almost 1 inch from the cutting edge to where it ends. And it comes along, great big belly on this knife, a nice flat area there. And we've got a swedge at the top that kind of sweeps and terminates right there. And so if we change the angle that we're looking at this knife, what we've got is we've got a thumb rise here with jimping on it. And then we've got, a little bit of a valley cut out there. And then the swedge starts behind it, comes around and terminates here. Between this point and this point, it's flat. And right here where this swedge terminates, Also, where the grind terminates, right there, there's a slight angle there, 2 or 3 degrees, so you get a tiny drop point at the end. It almost is imperceptible. I had to put a flat piece of steel onto the knife to tell. And yes, right there, right at that point, it changes angles and comes down. So there you go. Look at that knife. I really like that blade. We also have their Firebird branding on there. They've trademarked. And right here on the knife, you can see it says G750 440C steel. They've been using 440C for quite a while. Most of the G700 series is 440C, and it works. They do a great heat treat. I forgot to measure how thick the blade stock is. Yeah, very typical of Ganzo's knives, 0.13 inches. Very typical for their blade stock. It's heavy enough to be very strong and durable, but it's not so heavy that it's going to become a problem cutting. This knife cuts really, really well. It slices fine. They did a good job of putting the thumb stud back far enough so that when you're slicing through things, it doesn't hang up on the thumb stud. We've got jimping on a little bit of a rise on the handle that turns into jimping on the rise on the thumb stud. It's a nice wavy pattern, so it's not super aggressive. It doesn't become a hot spot, and yet it provides additional purchase. This jimping that's on the back spacer back here isn't really functional. It doesn't really do much, but it certainly adds a decorative effect, adds some detail that looks quite nice on the knife. This is 1/2 inch thick all the way along. Your knife's 1/2 inch thick. When the knife is open, it is 8 5/16 long, which is 21.1 inches. When it's closed, it's 4 3/4 inches, which is about 12 centimeters. And the cutting edge here is 3.5 inches, which is 9 centimeters. Before I get too far ahead, this clip, I really like their clip. This is their classic clip that they've made for a long time. It's very functional, it's secure, it's solid, it works well with the G10 texturing that they do. Really, really good and everything, except for we've got 3/4 of an inch sticking out here. That's like just less than 2 centimeters will stick out of your pocket. This knife comes in black G10, green and orange, and I will double check if it comes in carbon fiber or not. But it's a great knife that feels good. Okay, while we're got this camera further back, let's do a spine whack test, because I keep hearing from people that the access lock that Ganzo makes is not good. The access lock is good. They've been doing a really good job with it. Just like any other manufacturer, there's going to be the odd knife that has some problems. That's what warranties are for. Warranties are not for knives that have systemic problems, because then the company goes out of business. It's for the odd occasional knife that every manufacturer has come back every once in a while. So I'm just going to open this knife up the way I normally do and go immediately into a spine whack test, of course holding it safely, and it's going to be noisy, so here's your sound alert. Look at that. No problems at all. And the knife is perfectly fine. Now, some people are calling me a Ganzo fanboy, and I guess I am a bit of a fanboy, but that's only because they're making top class knives in this price range. You can't find a better knife, a mid-sized knife like these are at this price. It just doesn't exist. There's Sanrenmu, which is a company that makes smaller knives, and they're top class for those smaller knives. But for this size, Ganzo is just the company. China is turning the world of knives upside down. And, I'm as patriotic as the next guy, but any company that makes as good a knives as this, I just have to pay attention. So we've talked about the knife. We've talked about the blade. I like how it looks. I like how it works. We've talked about the pocket clip, the lanyard hole, the shape, the feel, the weight. The weight is, I didn't tell you about the weight, did I? In case I didn't tell you the weight, I'll record it now. The weight of this knife is 4.7 ounces, which is 133 grams. And that's because they've skeletonized the liners. I'll put a still picture in of the skeletonization right here. So you can see that this knife is this weight for a good reason. It's not super light, but I like my knives around this weight. Between 4 and 5.5 ounces even, sometimes 6 ounces, I'm just totally fine with. You can get up to an 8-ounce knife and I'll carry it, no problem. It's just the way I roll. If I was so concerned about, 1 or 2 ounces, I wouldn't be as big a guy as I am. So, that's a little bit of a joke, guys. So that's pretty much everything about this knife. Let's do some cutting tests. Finally. Woohoo! All right, here's some glossy paper. Here's some newsprint, which is even harder to cut. And that's just a slow push cut, which is the hardest cut. You see, a push cut really shows if the edge is sharp because you're cutting on the same spot of the blade all the way through. Or very much the same spot, as good as you can do. This knife is sharp from the factory. I've not touched it up or touched it at all since I bought it, so that tells you something about how sharp it is out of the box. Let's say you've got some packaging that you need to open up. You can cut through that kind of banding if you've got a big box. You can cut through it that way. Certainly you can slice it all day long. That's no problem at all. I keep getting the angle off on that, so there we go. You can cut heavier stuff, like you've seen this wire before. It's a big, heavy game controller wire. Microsoft doesn't want their wires to fail, so they make them good and sturdy on their controllers. This knife is a good knife. It cuts really well, and it looks sharp, and it is sharp. Yeah, you've got this, just these little touches that make it look really cool. The swedge up here, these lines, everything's great about this knife. I hope Ganzo can take a little lesson and change their pocket clip, improve that a little bit. That's something that they haven't touched for a number of different knives so far. Everything else on this knife, I really, really like an awful lot. So keep making more knives with ultra deep carry, and the rest of what you're doing is just wonderful, Ganzo. You're doing a great job. I really like your knives, and I'm trying to get at least one of each one that I can get my hands on. So if you're not yet a subscriber to this channel, please subscribe. It really does make a positive difference for me. If you like this video, please click on like down in the lower right-hand corner, or share down in the lower left-hand corner if you know somebody who's interested in this brand new release knife. Thank you for watching. Remember, always cut towards your chum and not your thumb. Bye-bye.